Welcome back to the 100 Horror Films in 31 Days, and this is the last day, day 31, and I got in 4 films. This is becoming kind of a annual tradition, and that is I break out the old Halloween Scream Factory box set and watch the films. This time I chose to watch. I almost always watch the original every single year now on the day of Halloween, but uh, I decided to marathon a bunch of these. So I watched first up, of course, the original, the classic from 1978, directed by John Carpenter. I mean, nothing will ever replace this from a Halloween perspective, anyway. It's a masterpiece, 10 out of 10. I saw this in the theater when it originally was released to a packed house, and I can just remember the tension that this thing. The tension, the nervous tension, as Michael was chasing Laurie throughout the house and across the street, and then I just remember all that so vividly, and people's reactions that what the first time seeing this movie was a tremendous experience, and now it's having watched it. I mean, you know, as many times as I watch this, it never gets old. I mean, there's things now. Obviously, this was never intended to be watched 40 or 50 times. I mean, there are some things that are wrong. I mean, but one of the things, and I think I did a full review of Halloween '78 and talked about some of the things that I saw that with repeat viewings that kind of stand out. Like one of the things they do, which I think works to the benefit of tension, is when Myers is busting his way through the door of the I guess it looks like like a kitchen, or it goes out into a greenery area, and Laurie is kind of right there at the double doors, trying to break open the glass to get the door open. The distance between the door that he's breaking through and her, it's just a few feet, and yet he comes clearly through the door, and she hasn't gotten the double doors opened yet. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that, it's obvious that he would have caught her in the real world, but it works. It actually works because, once he gets through the door, he realizes, well, shit, he's in the same room with her. It's a small room, really. It's not that big a room. He's going to get her, and that tension works, even though I think from a physics perspective, it's basically flawed. And the only, like I say, if you've watched this so many times, I mean, of course you're going to start thinking about stuff like that. At least I do. And then there's the scene where she is on the couch and she just stabbed him with the knitting needle. And of course she drops the knife, right? And she drops the knife multiple times, which is very frustrating. But if you see other scenes in the film later on, the knife is on the floor in the living room, and then it's not on the floor in the living room. So, but yeah, those are just things that they're not critiques of the movie. It's just things that I start to think about when I watch the movie so much. I start going too deep, way too deep. But like I say, even the flaws that I think are there actually work to build even more tension. The example, of course, is him chasing her in the house and breaking through that door. I think that just adds to the tension, and it works really well. But it's a masterpiece, man. 10 out of 10. Great ending. One of the things I think that this movie to me is perfect because of the cinematography and the music. The way it's shot, the way it's lit, and the music are the reason it's at the 10 out of 10. That's kind of just cutting to the chase. But anyway, obviously I love the movie, as does the rest of the world, and never gets old to me. All right, next up I watched Halloween 2, directed by Rick Rosenthal. And this is the follow-up, which sequentially, basically, storyline-wise, picks right up where the last one left off, and does a great job. I mean, most of the film is shot in with Laurie in the hospital and Michael Myers chasing her around the hospital. Which, by the way, if you're a finance person in the healthcare industry, you have to be thrilled to death with the staffing matrix at this hospital, because there's nobody there. I mean, you can count on one hand how many staff FTEs are working in that hospital at night, you know. And also, they're very judicious about utility costs. You know, it's basically a pitch black hospital, so they're definitely cognizant of the utility bill. I don't know many staff members at any hospitals that are, you know, that economical to the benefit of their employer by working in practically a darkened hospital. But I'm being funny, but yeah, it's a fun movie, a great movie, a great follow up. I give it a 9 out of 10. The one thing that sticks out to me as ridiculous, and nobody ever talks about this, but every time I watch this, it's like so obviously ridiculous. So, you know, Laurie's sitting there at the end of the film in the operating room. It looks like an operating room. She picks up the gun and she's kind of holding it, you know, mid-chest level. She's not aiming it. She's just pointing it up from her chest level. And she shoots Michael. And, of course, she has two perfect shots that go right through the eye holes of the mask and do no other damage other than the eye holes of the mask, then they cause it to bleed out. Yeah. Horseshit. That would never happen. She probably would have missed from that range if she's not a practice shot, first of all. But if she did hit him in the head, his head would have been blown off, including the fucking mask. If she'd have hit him twice in the face, the eye holes, shooting through the eye holes would have been the least of his problems. I mean, ridiculous. Dumb. Nobody has ever mentioned that I ever have heard talk about it review wise. I just think that's completely stupid. But, you know, if you're going to throw logic into horror movies, you may as well stop watching horror movies. That would be my other comment. So, I love the film. I just think that's a ludicrous scene. So, anyway, 9 out of 10. Good follow-up. Great follow-up, actually. Number 3, I did watch. Number 3, Season of the Witch. And like many other people, I was there when this came out, and I hated it. I didn't understand what they were doing. I was, you know, 20s, early 20s, and of course I had just gotten the Halloween bug from the original film, and just that theatrical experience of first time seeing it. So there was tremendous disappointment when this came out. But with age and having grown up a little bit, seasoned out a little bit, I can actually appreciate the fact that they didn't want to do the same thing over and over and over again and wanted to try something new. I probably would have just not called it Halloween, quite honestly. I think they should have just gone with like Season of the Witch and just not even bothered with Halloween. But this time, director Tommy Lee Wallace is at the helm, and I thought he did a great job. The film, really, without Tom Atkins, it's not the masterpiece that a lot of people think it is. And I mean, he is the movie. Tom Atkins makes this movie. He's the reason I think it's an excellent, excellent horror film, and I give it a 7 out of 10. It's hokey. It's cheesy. It's everything that I think we love about the 80s. And it's got Tom motherfucking Adams in it. I mean, what? Tom Atkins in it. What else do you want? So, yeah. I mean, I can still understand people's hatred for this. It's cheesy, good fun. I mean, so I give it a 7 out of 10. No, it's not perfect. It's not perfect at all. It is hokey and silly, but that theme song, you can just never get that out of your head. Ever, ever, ever. And then I finished up with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And of course, this introduces Danielle Harris, who I thought I am really impressed after rewatching these films. Danielle Harris, man, child actors, it's tough. It's tough to be a child actor and do it well without being irritating to an adult audience, I think. And she did a fantastic job of this. This is a great follow up. Fantastic movie. It's underrated in my opinion. Um, there's some issues with the mask, but it's not the worst mask. And I thought it's a great follow up. I really did. But it's not perfect. You know, I do like it though. I think I give this one 7 out of 10. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 7 out of 10. So yeah, that did it for the 31 days. A grueling month. I only broke, so that, just to tally things up, I did 105 films. 41 was new first time watches, which it still shocks me I can dig up movies I've never seen before each year. I mean, that's pretty decent. That's almost half. That's a pretty decent tally. I mean, even 40% now shocks me that I can still hit 40% blind watches. But as far as my best watches, I think Phantom Carriage was a fantastic watch. Of course, the original Halloween. That's a 10 out of 10. The Cremator is one that I thought was excellent. Highly recommend it. My worst watches has got to be the damn Bermuda Triangle. And the first day or two, I watched an Andy Milligan film, which I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And then my shock of the month, my surprise watch of the month, pleasant surprise, was The Killer Condom. I really liked The Killer Condom. If you ever get a chance to check that out, highly recommend it. Anyway, that's it for the October Horror Challenge, and I guess it's wait till next year and we'll do it all again. But thanks for watching.